Welcome to the No Tenant Left Behind Tenants' Rights and Advocacy and Support YouTube channel. The video you're about to watch is not to be taken as legal advice. I am not a lawyer. And as with this video, any video on this channel should be considered not legal advice. Now, the video. Welcome to the No Tenants Left Behind channel. We are a tenants' rights support, advocacy, and help channel. Most of the videos will be basically just myself and my co-coordinator hosting videos. We'll try to do, we want to get people on as well to tell their stories, dealing with bad landlords and slumlords. We will also be doing how-tos on understanding the Residential Tenancies Act, understanding the Landlord-Tenant Board, how to conduct a meeting or a hearing. We'll also be going into the Landlord and Tenant Board forms, not only explaining what they're for, but explaining exactly how to fill them out. And hopefully we'll be attending some of the protests for housing in Toronto. We are an Ontario-based tenants' rights advocacy group. Therefore, we'll be focusing mainly on tenants' rights in Ontario, Canada, both dealing with tenancies that fall under the Residential Tenancies Act, tenancies that fall somewhat under the Landlord Residential Tenancies Act, and some fall outside of the Residential Tenancies Act. My name is Erin Elizabeth Crane. My pronouns are she and her. And so just a little bit about myself. So with this introduction video, I have been a renter most of my life. My parents have been renters. So I've had dealings with extremely poor landlords. I have been on Ontario Works, and I am currently on Ontario Works again. I'm waiting for Ontario Disability Support, ODSP, with the amount that people on Ontario Works, and for anyone not living in Ontario or Canada, Ontario Works is a social benefit and a social support program that deals with those who are out of work. So basically, it is an equivalent to welfare. That being said, Ontario Works has never provided adequate support for paying rent and basic needs at the same time. When I was on Ontario Works, probably about 15-20 years ago, my benefits were about $560 a month. The average rent at that time was about $400 for a room rental in a shared accommodation. Apartments were going for $800. My partner at the time was the son of a landlording family. We became very familiar at that time with landlord practices, the beginnings of the Landlord-Tenant Act, or the Residential Tenancies Act. I think it was just called the Rental Act at that time, to how landlords can game the system, work the system, get around things both legally and not so legally. His parents were not particularly great landlords. I admit at the time I was not a particularly great tenant. I had a lot of undiagnosed mental health issues that I was dealing with, and I will admit that I was less than, since then I have greatly improved my self-care, my apartment care, and I have got a proper mental health diagnosis. I am on proper medications for it. So that being said, I've also had landlords who were not relatives of people that I was dating or engaged to at the time. Over the years, both while I've been on assistance and while I haven't, I've always worked minimum wage retail jobs. So, again, my rents obviously couldn't be expensive. I have dealt with landlords that don't do upkeep to their apartments. I have dealt with landlords who have found ways around the LTB. I will go into some of those in stories in the future. I'm trying to keep this fairly short and sweet. So, needless to say, up until COVID hit, I was doing pretty good with dealing with my landlord. At which point, yes, I was on Ontario Works at that time, but I was also trying to run and start a small entertainment services company, karaoke, DJ, a trivia hosting, as well as track production. We were not uber successful. We had a modest. We had reoccurring clients. We had a couple of venues that we did reoccurring karaoke nights at. So I was able to supplement that income with the other. But then all of a sudden, when COVID hit, obviously all of the venues, bars, restaurants, even event venues such as banquet halls, they all were closed. My regular karaoke night venues have since gone out of business. And many places that have been able to survive at this time are having trouble struggling to pay for extras such as entertainment, karaoke, DJ, etc. I lost all of my private events, such as, weddings and wedding events, birthdays, holiday parties, etc. And obviously there's been no rebookings. Toronto is still is open for business, but a lot of people are still very wary. Social distancing is still in effect. Mask mandates are still in effect. I am not an anti-masker. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I have been double vaccinated myself. I am waiting for them to announce the boosters, especially in light of Omicron variant. So I encourage people. Anyway, back to the original. Again, I tend to ramble. I do tend to stutter and use vocal tics. That is a mental health issue with me. I do have a that I'm still dealing with, and some of it is obviously untreatable, such as a stutter, and I can't afford to go to a speech therapist. So I have to deal with that. Other than that, again, we want to work towards more actual advocacy, not just videos. We will be hosting Q&As, town halls, slideshow presentations on here. We do have a Facebook group. The link is below. And we do have a Patreon also. If you have a couple bucks a month to spare, we'd love you to support, because that money will go into better production. It will go into research. It will go into advocacy directly, both assisting people with landlord-tenant board issues, being witnesses to the hearings so that there's the support there, advising on LTB issue matters and hearings, and also advocacy within the community, within the government. I live in a riding right now that is my member of provincial parliament is Suze Morrison, who is the housing critic for the NDP, the New Democratic Party of Ontario. And I am going to be contacting her about some other issues, but I will be raising issues about housing. She is very much aware of the issue with the Ontario Works and ODSP program, and the fact that nowadays even your maximum allowance for OW won't even cover a room. Right now, maximum is 700, and I think my max is 780, but that's minus 80 for diabetic. A diet allowance, so it's about 750 or so, I think, around there anyway. It's no higher than that. It's absolutely no higher than that. Right now, my allowance that I get, and allowance makes it sound like the government, your parents, and they're handing you your weekly allowance for a good job. I get $518 to cover my rent and my basic needs. So I am lucky that I'm on rent geared to income housing right now, because I only pay a fraction of market rent, but it still doesn't leave very much. Other than that, okay. So yeah, advocacy, direct advocacy in community and government. Liaisoning with other anti-poverty groups such as Protecting ODSP and OW funding, which was started by a friend of mine who I met at a camp, and who is also so we're going to try to advocate towards housing, towards better supports for people who are low, no income, etc. So I'm just going to leave with a warning and notice that the people involved with No Tenant Left Behind at the moment are not in the business of law. We are not lawyers. We are not paralegals. Therefore, any advice given on our channel, given in private messaging on our Facebook group, is to be considered not legal advice. It is just recommendations. And eventually, when we hope to actually start having lawyers and paralegals on, we also will stipulate that what they're saying, though maybe laid out in law, is not legal advice. It can only be considered legal advice when you take on a lawyer or a paralegal as your representative. So either through legal aid, which is government support program, or if you're paying and have hired, if you sign basically a contract with that lawyer to be your representative, then it becomes legal advice. So yeah. Anyway, I will hopefully get started on some of the how-tos in dealing with the LTB forms. I have finished one for the for a tenant A2, I believe it is, for a tenants to sublet or reassign their lease, which I will be posting very soon. Other than that, like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment. Let me know what you'd like to see included. You can join our Facebook group. Again, a link will be below. You can post it there. You can post it here. Posting it here, giving likes, subscribing, ringing the bell. It all helps the algorithm to get us out further. And until next time, rent is not due. And we will see you. Or, well, I guess you'll see me. I won't see you, but I hope to have interaction from you next time.
Record.
We're recording.
Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today I have the co-founder of No Tenant Left Behind with us, Andrea. We're going to be doing a react. Say hello, Andrea.
Hello, everyone.
And so this one isn't specifically about landlord-tenant issues. This is more about housing insecurity and homelessness now. And the original title is Millionaire Goes Homeless to Prove That Anyone Can Make $1 Million. We're going to see if he was right, that anyone can make $1 million. So I don't know much about this guy. I have watched this, so I'm not reacting right out of the blue. Andrea has not seen it yet. So, yeah. Let's get started here.
Today's been really tough. This is my bench right here. Gonna be sleeping on tonight, so.
This is Mike Black, the millionaire who went homeless, with the goal to make $1 million from nothing in only 12 months, while documenting the entire journey online for everyone to see.
I'm cutting off my entire network. I'm draining my bank account to $0. I'm leaving behind my 7-figure business, putting all my belongings in storage, and I won't even have a place to live.
This is the $1 Million Comeback.
Did you know the project is gonna be like this?
No, everything was a curveball. This is my one pair of clothes that I'm taking with me. I have a cell phone and I have...
I'm gonna try and look this guy up. Mike Black, $1 comeback. Okay, I have found a couple of things here. But let's see. Okay, so I've never heard of this guy, but just looking at his official website and his About Me, he runs a software development agency called Told Media. He has a 7-figure income in revenue. He started his country at 16, built a couple of tech startups as a non-technical founder. Outside of running his business, he spends most of the time monitoring other entrepreneurs for free. So yeah, it doesn't really say much about him on his official website. So I'm going to click over here quickly. So yeah, Mike Black, $1 Million Comeback. Watch the series. So yes, it is a series. We're not going to be reacting to the actual full series. We are just going to be reacting to a breakdown of what happened. So he's got a free course. I'm sure it's a free course. You probably get the course for free, but you have to pay for the materials or something in the course. So yes, he was starting all over, leaving my business behind, my network, all my belongings, and my apartment. So yeah, he did give up. Apparently, he gave up his apartment, which I don't believe for a minute. So, and again, there's his About Me. Okay, so we're gonna go right back to the video. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that. So day one, so this is, yeah, basically him giving up his everything.
A backpack with camera gear. The keys are officially turned in. The project has started. Now I gotta figure out what the f to do.
What Mike didn't know at the time was that this was going to be the toughest year of his life. But why did he decide to do it?
I'm gonna try to panhandle and make a couple bucks. Not worried about food at all. I can go a couple days without eating. Hey, how are you? I was wondering, do you have any like water cups by any chance? Finally, someone.
Okay. So first, my first suspect issue is if he gave up all of his money, how is he paying this professional film crew? And we will find out later what he's doing, what he pays for the film crew.
Someone nice enough to give me some water.
See, it was the beginning of 2020 and countless people had lost everything. And he wanted to be a living example that you can make a comeback even at your lowest point. But could he really reach $1 million?
No, he wanted to be a show off.
Everything I tried didn't work. I did have someone message me on Craigslist that said they'll give me $100 if I let them.
I started thinking like, I'm gonna be sleeping on the streets a lot longer than I thought. I don't know if I can do this.
All right, so it's 11 o'clock. Didn't make any money. My bench right here that I'm gonna be sleeping on tonight, so.
But there was no going back now. He had publicly committed all over social media, hired an entire production team, and this was about something bigger than just himself.
So remember, this is his first, this still isn't his first night on the street. This is his first day on the street. He hasn't had a chance. This is, yeah, him just living supposedly on the street.
The goal of the project was to help as many people as possible.
So giving up was never an option, but things took a turn.
Something amazing happened out of nowhere. Like this kid hit me up and said like, hey man, you can crash here. Offered to drive 30 minutes to pick me up. I'm just really emotional how nice of an act this was.
Okay, so first off, this is still night one of him being homeless. He's already found a place to live, even though it's couch surfing. So, yeah. So luckily, he finds someone to help him just in the nick of time. The kid, whose name is Isaac, who out of the blue hits him up. We don't find out where the contact came from at all, whether it was on Facebook, whether it was on Twitter, whether it was on any number of Craigslist style classifieds. He just hit him up with a place to stay. And again, luckily, he's not a Craigslist killer. He's a regular guy who has no other intent but to let this Mike sleep with him in his trailer. And when I say sleep, I don't mean in a sexual way.
Promise you, I will repay you for all of this.
Okay, thank you. I mean, you don't have to, but
Just thank you so much.
of course.
This is the RV that I slept in last night.
Now this was a short window of opportunity to get back on his feet.
I still have one pair of clothes. Look how gross this is. Now I get to put these boxers back on.
So he had to make some money, but this
Again, this is his second day on the street. And he thinks less than 24 hours wearing the same clothes and getting back into them or continuing to wear them is gross. I don't know how many of you people have been homeless. And luckily, I've never actually spent time on the street, but I have been homeless living in a shelter and have talked to a great many of people who have had to wear the same clothes for weeks on end without washing.
this time, he had a plan.
What I started doing is just taking ads on Craigslist in the free section, putting it on Facebook Marketplace, and selling it for a profit. I acted as the middleman, handling all the logistics between the buyer and the seller.
And it worked.
How do you feel about that?
Kind of odd.
What?
It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
Why would
Taking
you buy a
something,
couch?
yeah, something somebody's free cycling and then reselling it. That's not so much the furniture, but yeah, this is the first, I don't know. To me, it strikes me as
A scam.
a little, yeah, scammy, predatory, taking something from somebody that might have been able to use that themselves, who were in need of it, and yeah, selling it. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't exactly feel comfortable with it. So
I just sold my first couch for $100.
Although this was literally only 0.01% towards the final goal, with that he was finally able to buy some clothes, some decent food after not eating for days, and most importantly, deodorant.
It's alright.
On day 3, he made a whopping $250 flipping more couches.
Hey Mike, what do you got there? That's a nice computer. Yeah, that's just a brand new used Chromebook. I'm gonna take that.
Oh, it's just not working.
But Mike had to figure out.
So he's gone from day one being left this $1 million life behind, left his $1 million condo. He's a multi-millionaire. Walked the streets for a day, found a place to couch surf, and now he owns a computer. Yes, it's used. Who knows how old it is and what he actually paid for it, but apparently he's only got $250 at this point. And now he's got a used Chromebook, and I know they go for cheap used. I bought one last year. It was about $150. So he spent over half of his money, his earnings, on a new computer instead of on food and clothing.
Out how to get his own place, because Isaac, the guy who helped him on day 1 and now lived with in the RV, still had no idea about the project and who Mike really was, because he was going undercover as Scott, so he wouldn't get any extra help. If Isaac found out, Mike would have to cut off contact, which is one of the many rules he set up for the project, and then he'd be back on the streets again. So he
Okay. Also, this is suspect to me too. Well, not suspect, but it's very easy to find out who somebody is by taking their picture and doing a Google reverse image search. Somebody who is that wealthy and in a business such as media, and his face probably is all over Facebook or all over the internet, meaning he's probably has a LinkedIn account, and if you reverse image search that, he's got a Twitter, I found him within a couple of seconds.
He had to get Benjamins into his bank account.
I applied to 10 different jobs in one night, and the next day I woke up and I had 3 interviews.
So he spent the last $40 he had to.
Okay. Yeah. He sent out 10 applications in one day and got
But how's this
3
guy actually
interviews.
making a living when he has money though?
He's supposed to have given it all up. He supposedly started
Yeah, but he never said that he gave it up.
Yeah,
he took everything out of his account, but he probably still has it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He
And
took
yet again,
everything
you're
out
still
of his
scamming people
account.
to scam people for more money.
And yeah, he started out with a $0 balance. How many homeless people do you know that actually have a $0 balance and not say let me just look at my note here. How many?
I would say only one
Okay.
person, him.
How many housing insecure and homeless are in severe debt? Not just have no money, but are in severe debt, which is probably why a lot of people have lost their homes, especially this time, because they lost their jobs, they lost their income. Their new income here in Canada, which is CERB, which was CERB CERB, the Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit, were given $2,000 a month. That was not tax-free, it was taxable. So it's about $1,400 after taxes. How many people live in some of the major cities, which obviously they obviously can't afford food, rent, hydro, and everything on that. Okay, and again, he goes and gets he goes and sends out 10 applications. Getting 3 interviews from 10 applications is a miracle. Not so much now with everything opening, especially in the food services, essential services like being a cashier, fast food, etc. But I know I have sat at times for weeks on end sending 40 to 50 applications, and that's typing out applications on websites as well as emailing and dropping off resumes. How many interviews have I got out of that? A goose egg, big fat 0. And this is a trend. If you look up job search, how to job searching, etc. Job searching is a full-time job in and of itself. It's unpaid, but it's a full-time job. This guy, 10 resumes, 10 applications. I'm going to say that probably took him, I'm going to be generous and say 3 hours out of his day. Could it be that this guy is a multimillionaire or was a multimillionaire? He has obviously gone to higher education. He obviously has skills that he's learned over those 16 years, those years from 16 onward, starting businesses and working. I'm sure those went on his resume. Again, he may have gone under a fake name, but somebody who sees all that skill, they're going to at least pause for a second and go, ooh. And again, it depends on the jobs he is applying for, but he has the education behind him. He has the experience behind him. And and not just experience, but proven experience. Probably if he's looking within his industry. Yeah. And those 3 interviews.
Join a co-working space where he could use much better computers and start trading time for money, even if that means working as a telemarketer for only $10 an hour.
Okay, so he's joined a co-working space. Anyone who doesn't know what a co-working space, it's basically a huge office space that can be accessed by anyone either free or for a fee. That's one, the one he's using obviously is a private one, so it's fee. If he has a fee to it, it said he paid 45, his last $45. Again, his last $45 is going into something that's right now not really essential. If he's getting 3 interviews a day out of sending out 10 resumes, he doesn't need a co-working space. So co-working space, small businesses can access it so that they have meeting space, they have an office space, so that they kind of look more professional than just having a home space, especially if you're meeting clients or need access to computers or other resources that might be available. Certain programs, certain computer programs, they might even offer actual workshops. But yeah, and then this here, look at this face. This is a face I just want to punch, especially with the line telemarketing for $10 an hour. Lol. Okay, telemarketing is a horrible, horrible business. And I am so sick of getting the robocalls and the duct cleaning calls, especially because I live in an apartment. Not my choice of who gets to clean the ducts, but they'll call and call and call. But these are also people who are working and they're earning $10 an hour. They're earning $10 an hour probably because it's the minimum wage where they are. And to me, minimum wage says you're not worth what you're worth, and I am going to pay you the least amount that I can, and if I could get away with it, I'd pay you less. This is the same face you see on people who are about to start something at Walmart because a cashier won't give them the discount, won't give them the return. And then they're the ones that are on social media going, oh, thank you, essential workers.
$25 an hour working for a law firm as a virtual assistant. So I went over to Isaac. I was like, hey, would you be cool with lending me your car and I'll do food delivery. I'll give you the majority of everything I make.
Best delivery driver ever.
You heard it. Dude, I could flip this.
Okay,
now
what the
he's got
hell?
an
This guy
actual
went from
job.
telemarketing to delivering food?
Yeah, now he's got an
Something does not seem right in this video.
Yeah, that's what it's because, Isaac gave him use of the car. Again.
Who would give someone else the car? Who would lend someone a car?
I don't know how long
stranger.
this is in now. I don't know how long this is in now to his homeless. It hasn't said a day, but I'm assuming probably a couple of days in, and he's got a home.
Day 5, day 6.
Yeah, he's got a home. He's got an office space. He's got a car, and he's got a job. It's a gig job because it's probably through something like Good Eats, Uber Eats, or Foodora, or I think Foodora is gone, but
skip the dishes.
Yeah, skip the dishes. He's got a job. He's got steady income now. See, it's
bike, by the way. It sells for like 300, 400 bucks. Flipping. Just left the thrift store. Got all these shirts. You looking for a sugar daddy? Hit me up. 220 bucks.
But still, with all this work, he was barely getting by.
For the first time, my bank actually overdrew. I was not expecting this to take this long for me to get out of this situation.
Until
you're not in any situation. You're housed. The only thing you have right now is debt. And that's only $3 in debt. And it's because you're spending stuff on stupid things, like an office space. You now have a job. Work that job for a little bit, save up, then get the office space. You're using an office space for you don't even need it, because you can job search at a local employment resource center. He's got his own computer and obviously internet connections.
Things got even worse.
We didn't put this in the footage, but the RV had gotten a cockroach infestation. It was really bad. Imagine trying to sleep in a place where there's cockroaches everywhere. Imagine them crawling on you. Well, one night I looked.
Yeah, just imagine that. Having to live with bugs. Again, people living on the street are living with bugs and other rodents. There are constant bed bug outbreaks in shelters. There are constant roach infection outbreaks in shelters. Yes, I feel that you have an outbreak or a infestation, but it's not going to be hard to take care of in a trailer. But of course, you haven't put anything aside for an emergency like this either. Again, you're spending your money in the wrong places.
Looked at my arm, there's a cockroach, just swiped it off, and I sat up. I'm done. I will not live here another week.
He just had to get one client for some service that would pay him a few grand.
I literally just spent all weekend. I sent so many sales proposals.
Until he finally got someone to pay him for monthly marketing services.
$1,500. Dopamine just.
Again, he spent all weekend sending out proposals, which means he knows how to write marketing proposals already. Again, a skill he had from back then. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of your skills as easily as your money. You can not use them, but obviously he's utilizing those skills. And now all of a sudden, luckily, he's stumbled into a $1,500 a month job. Okay. Admittedly, that's still pretty shitty. Earnings, especially in a big city in the US where he is apparently living. Yeah, $1,500 a month isn't going to get you much. But again, he's stumbled into this. He spent a weekend
Blasting through my head. I have money now.
So he was able to move out of the RV into a small shared room. And to come full circle, now he could finally repay.
Now he's moved from an RV to an actual house. Yes, by looking at that little shot there, it's probably run by a slumlord. And it's probably a rooming / flop house, and not well taken care of, but again, it's a home, it's off the streets, it's out of a shelter, it's your own space apparently, or it's shared space with a, so he's basically moving from shared space to a shared space, but it seems to be cleaner from what, there's no roaches anyway.
Isaac by helping him sell the RV for $2,000 more than he expected.
I bought a MacBook for him as a thank you present, paid for by my business. I was going to pay for.
Yeah. He bought the MacBook out of his currently established $1 million business, paid for by his 7-figure business. So right now we're halfway through. We're less than halfway through. We've already busted him. He's utilizing his previous business. and his previous money. He's bought the gentleman that he shared the trailer with, that gave him shelter, a MacBook, a $1,500 MacBook, paid for by his business. What else is being paid for by his business?
Two flights to Germany because he really wanted to go to Germany. Just thank him for everything, and then he just stopped responding to my texts.
Who knows, maybe he reaches out now if he sees the video.
I want those Germany tickets.
But in order to eventually reach the $1 million milestone, he had to build a real business. Ideally a scalable one, like an e-commerce company.
I am at the farmer's market here. I'm looking for people that are selling product I can maybe partner with and sell online.
And after making...
Okay.
Something sounds fishy though.
Yeah, everything's fishy.
Because
Everything's
how it
fishy.
says day 58 at a 365.
Yeah.
Something's not right here.
And by the way, partner with is code for take advantage of in business.
Just screw the other person over.
Okay. You can't pause video, can you?
The what now?
Okay.
some connections with a manufacturer and looking at trends, he decided on a very specific niche, a coffee brand for dog lovers that donates a percentage of profits to saving dogs. But what got in the way?
Okay. Right now, coffee as a product is an oversaturated market. There are hundreds and thousands of small businesses selling specialty coffees, artisan coffees, coffee, what do you call it? Cruelty-free coffee, fair trade, organic. And so, yeah, the gimmick for this coffee is that it's for dog lovers. So, and the only thing that makes it for dog lovers is that they're marketing towards dog lovers and giving a percentage of the profits to a dog charity. Now, they never specifically say how much of the profits are going to go, which means it's probably like Value Village, where 1 to less than 1% of the profits go to these charities.
Was the fact that he had to document everything.
I was spending it 40 to 60 hours a week on production and marketing and running the production team alone while I was homeless in the beginning of the project. I remember being in meetings with the guys.
So he's putting full-time hours into making this video, and he expects to run a business. He's putting in 40 to 60 hours running he's running 40 to 60 hours running this business of making this documentary. And he has an entire crew. Look at this.
And
this is his crew. This is his film crew.
I don't have money to get back to the RV park. I got to get out of this meeting and you guys have to figure it out, because if I don't flip a couch today, I have to sleep at the office.
We need to shoot quick overview. We need to shoot how to.
Our animator overseas just quit.
So suddenly he's gone from having a room back to the RV that was sold. But he can sleep in the office, which is weird because a co-working space would not allow you to sleep in the office.
Unless you own it yourself.
So either he's upgraded to an office that he's now renting even if it's just a single roomed office, or
He owns an office that he can do whatever he wants in his office.
Or he's going to sleep in the production crew's office, which is probably part of the production crew's business.
Spending 25 grand a month on production.
$25,000 burned per month on producing the.
And there it is. He's spending $25,000 a month making this documentary, paying the film crew. Again, where is that money coming from? Oh, it's probably coming from his personal bank account, which he never really gave up. Or it's being paid for by his business, which it should absolutely not be fucking paid for by his business, unless this is a marketing ploy for his business.
Yeah, but his bank account has $0.09 in it.
Well, who's to say he didn't move it all to another account?
Because I only saw one account.
Yeah, but you only saw one account with one bank. He hasn't disclosed his financials. He's just showed his account balance for one bank account.
Yeah.
So again, where is this money coming from for this? And if this is coming out of his out-of-pocket expenses for what he's made for the homeless part, in other words, he's making at least $25,000 a month being homeless. That's pretty good money for somebody who's homeless. Somebody who's homeless.
Maybe we should try doing that.
Project and marketing it.
Paying for it out of his own pockets.
I only spent 1 hour on my business. This has been a consistent theme. I'm not gonna be able to build $1 million business.
And there it is. He's paying for it out of pocket, out of his own pocket, which means that it's either coming out of his business, his multi-million-dollar bank account, or it's coming out of his expenses. Right now, live it again as somebody who's living supposedly homeless, who is supposed to be living.
Just like that.
How much money have you made so far?
It's underwhelming.
You're making less than minimum wage. You feel like a failure.
I can't be working all these hours.
There are so many people out there, again, who are homeless or housing insecure, who work full-time jobs, who do not make minimum wage. Not every business is covered under minimum wage laws. In Canada, in the US, there are exceptions. There is a two minimum wages. Number one, there's the state minimum wage for states, or the provincial minimum wage for Canada, which is here in Ontario anyway. It's $14 an hour. Was supposed to 2 years ago move to $15 an hour, but when the Conservative government came in and over the Liberal government, they cut that. They've also cut social programs and supports, and they have not in 3 years given people on social supports such as disability an increase in their benefits. Meanwhile, rents are going up. So yeah, there's that. There's the state minimum wage. Then there's the service industry minimum wage, which means if you work in service, if you're a server in a restaurant, bartender, etc., stuff like that, where tipping is the norm, it's $3 or $4 less. and you're supposed to make it up in tips. Then there's also the student, actually there's three. There's a student minimum wage in some places, which can vary. I don't know what it would be in certain states, but yeah, it's less than the state minimum wage. Usually hovers around the same as the server minimum wage, I believe. And then of course there's contract work, where you're not actually working for a company, you're contracting yourself or your business to a company. Meanwhile, you work for them full time. You are expected to live by their hours, their uniforms, their policies. You basically work for the company, but they get around not paying you your benefits and your standard minimum wages and everything. You don't get your vacations. Here, contract workers don't get protections under some stuff like employment insurance, etc. There's no maternity leaves or anything like that, no sick leave. So yeah, there's that. So anyone knocking anyone who's not making minimum wage like it's a bad thing, it is a bad thing, but knocking minimum wage, knocking people who work minimum wage or below minimum wage jobs for just doing so, yeah, go fuck yourself. We need changes, and we need changes quickly in terms of wage, minimum wage, and living wage. And it would be ideal if everyone could just say, no, that's not what I'm worth. What I'm worth is this. And if you're not willing to pay me, screw you, which is what we're seeing right now, actually, with in the States, with the fact that there are a lot of places like fast food restaurants that are understaffed to the point where they have to close for certain hours that they were open. 24-hour ones have to close, are no longer 24 hours. Some locations have closed completely. That's because people are realizing that it's not worth, the money's not worth the abuse and the crap that they take. And it's been proven because there are places that literally across the street have raised their wages to the minimum wage or above, and they're receiving hundreds of applications and they're fully staffed.
I need to build my business.
Do you feel the pressure of having people look at you, of potentially failing in public? Does that keep you up at night?
I'm so tired. I just got word the client decided to, I guess, fire us.
He had to get really strategic with his time and money. Either cut expenses to invest more into launching the e-commerce business, or invest money to save more time, for example by hiring freelancers.
So I'm still working on the homepage, sir.
Jay, you logged 2.5 hours. You said you're gonna log a full day today, dude. We need to get this site up. Oh God, I've never gotten that pissed. It's starting getting to the point where.
So now he has the money also to hire freelancers, which is basically contractors or gig workers. And again, what did I just say about gig workers? So this guy probably hopped on something like Fiverr and is paying this person shit to build his business's website, because there's so many gig workers on these sites like Fiverr that everyone is undercutting everyone else to get the business. And I've had experience with Fiverr. I can tell you right now, if you've gone for somebody who's cheaper, you're going to get a generic template that is included in every one of these drag and drop HTML editors, website builders. Your logo is going to be taken on, is going to be taken from one of the free logo sites, and you're going to end up with crap. Pay people what they're worth.
I'm like, am I in over my head, being able to hit this goal? I don't feel like I'm far enough.
But out of desperation, Mike came up with a brilliant idea. They would not just cut his biggest expense, but might actually make him money.
I am finding a location. Let's say it's $4,000 a month to rent. I'm gonna rent out 4 of the bedrooms for $1,000 a month, so it pays for the place, and then that 5th bedroom I would get for free. That is what I call rent hacking. This is a 4-story place.
That's what
Now
I
you're
call
rent hacking.
Yeah, that's what I call gross landlordship.
I call him a smoocher.
Yeah, no, this everything he's doing right now is so predatory. It's not funny.
Like literally, it's not.
Like, at least here he's talking about 5 rooms for a $4,000 place, renting out each room
for $1,000 and the 4th room for free.
Yeah, and he gets to live for free. But again, $1,000 for a single room. And so that used to cover a 1-bed or 2-bedroom apartment about 10 years ago. Now you get a room for $1,000. And we'll go into rooms and shared accommodations in another video. But yeah, at least he could easily be going, oh, I'm going to charge $1,200 each. And then for 4 rooms, I'm going to make $800 profit, an $800 profit. He could charge whatever he wants. And I'm sure people will pay it, unfortunately.
This is gonna be my room. Walk-in closet here. This would be my bathroom. I'd be going from RV park to this. 3 months. Made this like a podcast room or something. Wow, this place is big.
He makes it valuable by setting up this house specifically for like-minded business owners. And because his fake identity, Scott, doesn't have a good credit score.
Now, here's another coincidence, that incredibly lucky coincidence coming up. But he went 3 months, 1 day being on the street, not even 24-hour, not even a 24-hour day cycle, to trailer park, to renting an entire house in 3 months. This guy is incredibly privileged.
He just found someone to co-sign it.
What do you think's like a...
Just met recently co-signer. Who in their right minds, after meeting somebody for a very short time, is co-signing for a lease? This is one of the biggest things that I find suspect. You're not going to risk your credit score for a complete stranger, because you're now on the hook for rent. If they skip out, if they can't pay rent, you're on the hook for it. And it's your credit score as well that's going to get hit. either this guy, the lucky coincidences are not lucky, they're staged, or he's a great scam artist to talk people into doing these things. I don't know anyone that would out of the blue co-sign for an apartment. I know people who won't even co-sign for their own children.
Fair percentage of profit to do for you doing like the credit
Or
partner
parents.
stuff. All right, I got the official lease. How cool is it that I went from living in an RV to this place, rent-free, plus I would make money.
And also, the
It's
coffee
very
brand
suspect.
was finally ready to launch.
Oh, we're in business. We got coffee, baby. We got our first coffee order ever. This time, 4 months ago, guys, I was thinking about sleeping on a bench. If you're like, I hate my job, I fucking can't stand my fucking job, quit. Save up some money, downsize, quit. Figure out what you want to do.
And with roughly
Okay.
Day 106.
That's good advice right now because the job market, there's a lot of available jobs. There's a lot of negotiating room that you can just up and quit and have something very quickly. But this probably won't last long unless there's a major workers' movement in the world, period. Anyone who watches Act TV and James from the internet knows about some of the movements that are going on, some of the strikes, the Kellogg strike, the Lay's Frito-Lay strike. And yeah, people are starting to wake up and realize that they're worth more than what the government is telling them they're worth. But there's still the issue that it's still small clusters. And just telling somebody to quit is stupid. You don't know people's situation. Somebody takes it on your advice to up and quit, and then they end up on the street and they spend 3 years on the street. That's on you, dude.
9 months left, maybe it was still possible to reach the $1 million milestone.
There's a lot of people that have built a company in 9 months, have gotten it to $1 million. I'm healthy, my family's healthy. That's all that matters. On Tuesday, I learned that
Those are incredibly lucky people to go from, what did he say, 9 months? Go from a $0 business to $1 million business.
Oh, there you go.
Those are people who had a lot of help behind them. They had skills, education, family. They had probably stellar credit scores. They aren't somebody who's sleeping on the street. They aren't somebody who's sleeping in a shelter. As much as you'd like to believe it, and I'm not saying that's on the people that I'm speaking about, because it's not. 99% of the time, it is not the person's fault living on the street that they are living on the street. A series of incidents brought them to that. Even if it's an addiction that's led to them being on the street, it's not their fault.
My dad was officially diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Yeah, they said it's in my lungs, my liver.
My dad is the single most important person to me in my life.
The typical survival rate for that is 14%. What I was told was like 12 to 18 months.
Believe it or not, yes, it could be better, but it'll also be much worse. To me, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'll fight, Michael. The fight begins. Don't get upset.
And here we see.
Now, I've lost both my parents, my father from stroke, my mother from pancreatic cancer. I know how hard it is, and I know the struggle, both treatment-wise, mental health-wise, of the person going through it and the people going through it with them. It's not a good situation. And I don't know where his father is now, if he's still with us or if he's passed. My sympathy goes out to Michael and his family. But I don't know. It just seems like another very interesting coincidence that he's now halfway through and hasn't made as much as he wants. He's not even halfway to his goal. And suddenly something's going to come in and play with his life and ruin his plans. Now, this is just me. This is just my paranoid brain after watching the video multiple times. And I could be being a complete arse over this, but part of me is suspect that either it is something that's going on and he's using it to build drama, or again, with all the things that we've pointed out here that are very suspect, such as $25,000 a month paying for the film crew, buying Isaac a $1,500 laptop, dollar MacBook out of his business. And you know, getting this co-signer, landing an apartment, all of this, it just.
Where Mike got his unwavering optimism. From his dad. He gets a terminal diagnosis and still considers himself to be the luckiest man in the world. After months of struggling, overcoming homelessness, working 100-hour weeks to run an entire production team, and trying to make $1 million at the same time, now this happened. This was real life now. Mike had a decision to make. Continue the project or quit.
Some things are going to change because I'm going to be moving home to spend time with my dad. We're going to figure it out, you know? This is what happens in life.
It was like life was testing Mike, whether you could actually be a leader, live by the message of the project, and overcome this adversity.
You get dealt cards, you have to play the hand that you're dealt.
His dad wanted him to continue because now this was actually about more than just making $1 million. It was about living by the values his dad taught him, making the best out of every situation, even in times of struggle. And it lit a fire inside of him.
And I wrote it down. I wanted 20,000 DMs, people reaching out saying, you impacted my life in a positive way. That's all I wanted.
So could he still reach the $1 million goal now that things got even more challenging?
And I want to make that very, very clear. Like, I don't think I was going to hit it.
But they had a pretty good plan. Coffee is one of these consumables that people buy again and again if they love your brand. So setting up a monthly subscription would be a game changer. And if they could acquire new customers to try out their products, they might become long-term repeat buyers.
Smile, dance. We put up our first TikTok, and TikTok went semi-viral. Almost 3,200 followers.
Holy shit.
What?
I think we got our first.
The business's first TikTok went viral. How much did they put behind the marketing of that viral video? There's so much content on these, and unless it was a really, really interesting, good TikTok, there's so many viral things going on. And I just worded that wrong, and yeah. But again, another lucky coincidence that his very first thing. It's always the first thing. He gets, you know, his first night, he gets a home. His first day, he gets money. His first day job searching, he gets interviews. Oh, sorry, got a back itch. And his first viral video, his first video goes viral.
Coffee club subscription. While I was driving, Etsy order, $34,221. Our ad account got disabled. This is what I do when I'm angry. So I made a list of things I'm grateful for. The first is Mark Zuckerberg. I'm grateful for big tech. So now I feel better.
Things now.
I'll take things that homeless people aren't grateful for 1,000, Alex. There are many, like big tech is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think, what am I grateful for in life? Not my father, whom I'm about to lose. Not my family, not the man who gave me a home that first night. But Mark Zuckerberg, whom this person may or may never have met.
Started moving faster, but that also created more problems. Mike was still juggling way too many things, spending only 5 hours a week on the e-commerce company, trying to squeeze in family time, making content to document the $1 million comeback, and researching cancer to help his dad. So far, he had spent $250,000 on producing the project, and the channel still hadn't taken off. His goal to impact
his channel isn't taking off because a lot of people think the same thing. I've watched several other reacts about this, and I think I'm adding some stuff unique to me and to us, especially from somebody who has spent time homeless, again, not living on the street in a shelter, but I have been homeless. People have probably found him through React videos and have just been like, yeah, I'm calling shenanigans. And if his time is spread too thin, it's time to think about cutting back on things. Because you're going to get sick, you're going to get stressed, your body is going to react. So maybe thinking that since the channel in this docu-series isn't doing what you'd hoped it would do after 9 months, maybe it's time to say, yeah, maybe this isn't working. And actually spend time on the business that you're running. But again, there's no stakes for you except for where your family is concerned with the father's illness. There's no stakes in if this YouTube project fails. There's no stakes if the coffee thing fails, except for the person that you've partnered with. You've basically, if it fails, you fuck them over. Because you still got your multi-million-dollar job. Your multi-million-dollar company in your back pocket.
20,000 people seemed impossible with only a few hundred views per video.
So that was like a layer of stress. Kept having to get the team pumped up. Like, guys, we'll get these views eventually.
Until his own health started declining as well.
Throughout the entire project, we haven't shared it with you, but I've been in and out of the doctor's office. I actually have 2.
Fuck you. A big, big, big fuck you. Again, this is supposed to be a project about homelessness in the States. How many people, homeless people in the States, have access to health care, let alone good health care?
None.
They might offer it. They might offer doctor's office services at the shelter. You may be able to find a free clinic, but you're not going to be able to pay for medication and treatments. So I'm sure, yes, your body is reacting to the stress of the situation that you're in, that you've put yourself in, with trying to run this YouTube project and a business and care for your father and make family time and all the other stuff you're going through. I feel you. I've been there. Under stress, sick from stress, both mentally and physically. Luckily, I live in Canada where I can access healthcare. And I don't say free healthcare because it's paid for through our taxes, but we have access whenever we need it for healthcare. That we don't have to pay out of pocket for. So again, people who are experiencing homelessness, who are experiencing shelter, who are experiencing shelter insecurity, don't have this advantage. So again, just a big, big fuck you.
Autoimmune diseases. Even started developing a tumor on my hip. It's gotten to the point where I'm in pain every single day.
Health, wealth, relationships, everything in my life is at the lowest point.
I want to talk about the project real quick. I don't know if I should keep doing it. I really should be helping out my dad with his business. My dad leaves the business is totally done.
Should he end the project now? He was still far from hitting the $1 million goal and having a big impact. But then he got a message from a stranger that changed everything.
There was a guy towards the end of the project. He reached out. I need to get on a call with you. Gets on the call and he literally just starts crying. And he's like, dude, I was going to kill myself. I came across your content. It just gave me hope. That was the best feeling I've ever felt in my entire life.
If he ended it now with only $65,000 made and one person he deeply impacted, would the
Again, shenanigans, shenanigans, shenanigans. He's thinking of shutting down his project. And now, suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody contacted him. Oh, you saved my life. I was going to kill myself. Fuck you. Fuck you. if this had come and you'd not been shutting down, or if it had come earlier, or I would say, okay, maybe, but I'm calling complete bullshit right now. There is no way that somebody has not, no, this person, they don't even like give a first name. They didn't recall it. They didn't record the call. They didn't play it or anything. I'm just calling 100% crap on that. This is so he can make a justification that no, he didn't meet his goal or anywhere near his goal, but he saved a life with this project. He's a saint.
Project be a failure or a success?
I wanted to help people that were struggling get back on their feet and prove that it could be done. A lot of things about this situation suck, but I'm in control of how I see things.
Throughout all of this, no matter how hard life hit him, he made the best of everything and lived by the message he truly believed. That's what truly...
No matter how hard life hit him, he had a miraculous somebody show up to help him.
Leaders do. So he decided to end the project early to focus on fixing his own health and spending more time with his dad.
And now he's doing a lot better and things are going really, really well.
And who knows, maybe now with this video, Mike is able to impact 20,000 people.
So yeah, that was the video. Again, so just a quick, come on, go away. Stream of consciousness thing that I wrote, and some of it I did mention already. So this guy is full of crap. He's paying $25,000 a month for the film crew, and he never spent a single night actually homeless. He always seemed to luckily find somebody to help him just in the nick of time, like the kid Isaac, who out of the blue hits him up with a place to stay and is not a Craigslist serial killer miraculously. He literally breaks down that he might have to spend a night sleeping on a bench. And again, he didn't sleep one night or a full 24 hours living or sleeping on the street. Again, he did not, he had, the skills and education behind him after running a successful multi-million-dollar company. So he may have had $0 in the bank, but he had the skills and education behind him. 90% of homeless people don't have housing insecure and homeless are in severe debt. And that being the main cause of their housing insecurity or loss. He flipped stuff that was for free section of online classifieds, sold them after getting them, and then he got a co-op working space. Skills to use office gear and knowledge of sales to cold call. I forgot to mention he was cold calling apparently people to get that $1,500 marketing position. Cold calling is one of the most impossible things to do if you don't have the skills and knowledge of how to do it. Basically, if you've ever worked as a telemarketer, you're cold calling people, unless you're working for a company that is dealing with established clients to try and, get them to repurchase something. But most of the time for something like duct cleaning, you're calling out of the blue. Business to business is even harder because there's hundreds, thousands of other businesses that are doing what you're doing the exact same thing, cold calling. So yeah, and I'm sure those weren't exactly random cold calls. I don't know if it could have been to his established contact list that he had. And surprise, in less than a day, he has a $1,500 contract. Then he goes out and rents a house. From couch surfing to renting a full bedroom house in this rental market here in Toronto, Ontario, anyway, that's not happening. That's not ever going to happen. Going from supposedly homeless to a 4-bedroom house in the matter of what was it, 3 or 4 months? No. Finding a cosigner, a random stranger to cosign, never going to happen. Unless that cosigner is a complete friggin' moron. Never going to happen. Because it's your ass on the line for their debt and your credit on the line for their debt. Okay, this is all by turning the rental into a, again, he applied to 10 jobs in a day to make profit. Oh, comes me. And then by turning that rental into a flop/rooming house where he gets to live rent-free and probably make a profit. Although it said he wasn't, it was $4,000 a month. He was charging 4 bedrooms for $1,000 each, but you never know. You never know if that house even existed in his name, to be honest, because he quickly went from being in that rental to moving back in with his parents, and completely understand the reason why he would. That face that he Snapchatted out was just so punchable. Very, whatever the male equivalent of Karen is. Karen, about to go off on a minimum wage worker while working a minimum wage job, apparently. And then, of course, at the end, when he's calling it quits, he suddenly gets a miraculous text and phone call saying that he saved somebody's life, that they were going to kill themselves until they'd start watching this video series. Anyway, Cubby, do you have, or
Andrea, no worries.
Anyway, Andrea, do you have any final comments?
Completely scammer. Like literally. Honestly, this guy is pathetic. He's making homeless people look completely foolish. And for him being what he did was completely wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're going to try to do some more social justice stuff. More again, stuff that's more still related to housing, even if it's just tangentially. And I just noticed that there's a huge reflection of my
your glasses,
of my
yeah,
in my glasses.
You have like 2 circles, white circles, and then I see your laptop.
But I'm so blind without it. I can't. So, yeah, it's probably going to be a distraction. I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that. I can't move it from where it is, to be honest. I can't hang it. So I think it's just going to have to be dealt with. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to try and do some more of this. We do have a Patreon. Well, no, it's a Patreon style site called Coffee. It's down below in the description. So we went with coffee because there's no fee for use, so a percentage of your no percent of your tip, your donation, your subscription goes to service fees unless we opt into it, which we may down the line once we're starting to generate if we get are generating extra revenue. Also 1.5% of all donation subscription monies are going to environmental causes. We've decided to opt into that. And again, other things that we do plan on doing, more videos like this, more of the how to understand and fill out tenant forms for the LTB. We'll go over understanding landlord filings as well, and other things. We do want to get into more political lobbying to shore up housing rights, to get truly affordable housing built, and to also there's one thing in my head that just completely disappeared. So and to fight to rid the rental market of two-tiered second class citizen rentals of shared accommodations, to fight to get those in the lease partially covered under the Residential Tenancies Act for stuff like evictions and protections under the Human Rights Code, protections under the protected classes statutes. So for now, we're going to say our farewells. So thank you for joining me on this one, Andrea.
You're welcome, Aaron.
And again, rent is not due, and we will see you on the next video.